Welcome back to the Shifting Schools podcast. Our esports and gaming mini series continues, and we've got yet another outstanding guest for you. Let me introduce you to the amazing Janey Laney, who happens to be the founder of Black Minecraft, the DEI safety advisor in Metaverse. She's a content creator. She's a professional speaker, and she has brought us so much wisdom about Minecraft and more. She has me thinking about how Minecraft is an entry point to lead conversations we need to have. As a live streamer, she talks a lot about what it takes to build a community and what we can do with our platforms. So if you have students who are interested in live streaming for educational purposes, or are interested to be thinking about what they might do with their platform or how they might build community, I can't think of a better guest than Janey Laney to introduce them to. I think you're really going to enjoy this week's conversation. Before we dig into it, a quick word from our show sponsors.
This esports miniseries is powered by Digon Esports, your key to unlocking esports potential at your international school. Elevate your international school with Digon, a partner that truly understands international education, founded by a team with over 30 years of combined experience attending, supplying, and working with international schools. Digon will help your school unlock the educational power of gaming. Unleash the game, unleash the future with Digon. Learn more and book a call today at DigonEsports.com. That's DAIGON esports.com.
And now, let's get on with the show. In episode 1 of your podcast, Black Minecraft, listeners, of course, that's going to be linked over there in the show notes. You talk about your vision for Minecraft as an instrument for change in multiple different ways. As the founder of Black Minecraft, you aren't just describing the change, you are personally enacting it. I'm wondering if you can talk to our listeners about the leadership, and again, I know it's like multifaceted, so many different directions that you have been offering through Minecraft.
So yes, there's so many ways that Minecraft in itself can be utilized, but I decided to not only use Minecraft to connect with people through streaming and just general gameplay, but I also use it to like lead the conversation on the topics that we need to talk about. And I do often include children in these conversations. So one of the ways that I have taken upon using Black Minecraft as a leadership type of role is when we just talk about education, letting people know that, a lot of times minorities, specifically Black and brown people, are often, like with the children, they're often not given the proper introduction into technology. So I utilize Black Minecraft, my initiative, as well as Minecraft, the game, in order to expose more children to the possibilities of everything that they could create in Minecraft and to talk to the parents about it. Like, Minecraft, although is a game, is actually one of the closest games that you could get into learning how to code, into actually being introduced into the world of technology as a whole. I've seen so many different people utilize Minecraft by ways of learning how to build drones, learning how to make actual digital art, and really learning how to connect. So what I've done with Black Minecraft was I took it to the people that need it the most. I took it to the people that suffer from the educational gap, which I'm Black. So although my personal schooling experience wasn't as bad, I know a lot of these schools that are bad. So I was like, what can I do? Well, I stream family-friendly content. Why not utilize Black Minecraft as a way of speaking to more like Black and brown kids? So often I would actually teach chemistry in Minecraft. We would go ahead and set aside time, and I would teach like all these black and brown kids chemistry, we would be blowing stuff up in there. But it was a great way to actually connect. And then I talked to the parents, and the parents, they may not know everything about video games, but they've actually understood the gap with my initiative. Like they've understood why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So it's been like that.
It's fantastic. And, I think in K-12 education, we have seen sort of library audits are very popular, right? This idea of let's make sure our classroom libraries are intersectional, we have representation. And I was amazed to learn through producing this series that, the book, the TV, the movie industry, the music industry, they are all smaller than the gaming industry. Like that boggled my mind. So, if we do not have representation in the biggest industry in the world, we have to be having that conversation, and you started it. I appreciate you bringing up having conversations with parents too, because if there are parents who have never seen Minecraft before, we actually talked in an earlier episode about how there's a lot of misconceptions around games that like they're a waste of time, or, they encourage violence. Like there's a moral panic around it, right? And I'm wondering actually, are most parents that you're talking to really surprised about the power of not just Minecraft, but gaming more broadly, actually as an avenue for, you've mentioned connection, community, belonging. Do they seem really surprised and shocked, or do you feel like the conversation is moving away from that stance of like moral panic, games are bad, etc.?
I'm 50-50 on it. So I'm 30. So I remember growing up, like I've always played video games since I was 2, but I remember growing up and seeing those commercials. Remember those commercials that were like, it was like the commercials were protesting against gaming. Like you would have thought that gaming was going to end the world. But I still see a 50-50 side of this. And the reason why I see a 50-50 is because there are still giant gaps being presented in the gaming industry that then follows why certain parents think certain ways. So for instance, all right, there's a lot of women who are against video games. There are. When you go onto social media, you will see women talking about their partners playing the video game and they don't like that. And because the stigma was for the longest time that women should not be playing video games. So there are several women who are now parents that did not get exposed to video games when they were younger. So now as parents, they still don't get it. So for them, it is more of a shocker when I do make the correlation, and when I even like have kids present to their parents, hey, this is what I did in Minecraft, they still have that shock value. It's not angry anymore, which is great. It's just like, oh, really? Huh. Well, what else can you do? So it's more of like a discoverability moment with some parents. With other parents, oh, they're all for it. They will sit there and play that game with their kids too. They're like, oh, how do I get on? Teach me. Like, so I feel like the conversations, as long as they continue, then we're going to move towards better. But they need to continue. And that's why I strive to make sure that, K through 12, I'm going to be honest with you, especially between kindergarten and 5th grade, that younger generation, that younger age of schooling of children, making sure that they're getting properly exposed and that their parents are. So that way, a pipeline could start being built in these schools where, oh, hey, your child really likes video games, or, maybe your child really likes science. Well, here's a great hands-on approach to how we could facilitate some learning. Take it from elementary school on up. And then by the time that they graduate, whether they want to go to college or don't want to go to college, they might have in their mind, hey, I can really do whatever I want to do in life. And I got exposed to video games. I kind of like science. So then you're going to have more women, more people of color getting into sciences, getting into engineering. So for me, it's like, if we continue to have these conversations, they're going to go from, oh, I didn't know, to let me put my child in that, more to let me interact with my child when my child is playing video games, when they're up there playing Fortnite. Oh, I'm going to play Fortnite with them, so it's all a process. It's getting there, but it's all a process.
And I totally appreciate that idea that like we need to sustain a dialogue, we need to sustain a conversation. I'd like to kind of pivot and talk a little bit about the skill sets involved. You've got so much experience. And again, listeners, head over to the show notes, learn more about all of the different things that you have done. And, the way in which your work has been recognized is huge. You've been featured on the Xbox Twitch live stream. Minecraft has featured you on their YouTube channel. And it's not for a lack of like hard work and you really honing so many different skill sets. I think even sometimes we underestimate the presentation skills involved when you're being a live streamer too. Like this podcast, I have the opportunity to edit later on. So there's not the pressure on me that you have often where you've got a huge live audience. You offer mentorship too to folks who are coming up in the industry. And I'm wondering if you can just kind of reveal behind the curtain, what are some of the skills that have been really important for you to develop that I appreciate you mentioned earlier? Like if you want to make it far in this industry, you need to have opportunity and also like have your curiosity kind of tapped into when you're young. So
yes,
younger students, like what could they start working on today that's related to like your whole arsenal of skills that you've needed?
Well, one of the things that I would say is don't ever feel like you're too talkative. If you are a talkative student, see, I was chatty Cathy in school. Like I used to actually get in trouble a lot because I'll just be still. One of my teachers told me if I were to talk to a cockroach, we would be friends. And I was like, yeah, you're right, because I would always be talking. But one of the best skill sets for being a live streamer, for being a content creator as a whole, for doing things like being on panels and being featured and everything, is the ability to have a conversation. And sometimes it's just the ability to have a conversation with new people. So I would say, for all the students who are possibly looking into getting into broadcasting, whether it be, you might want to be a news anchor. At one point in time, I did want to be a news anchor. So, you might want to be a news anchor. You might want to be an announcer. You might want to just like tell your story. You need to be able to start talking with a diversified group of people. So if there's like maybe that student in your class that doesn't really talk to a lot of people, have a conversation with them. I've learned so much that just the simple conversation, like maybe you might see something in common that you have with somebody. Maybe your hair is curly like their hair, or maybe you just really like their shirt. Like have a conversation with them about it. Don't be afraid, because with content creation, boy, there is a lot that can be scary. Sometimes you have to face bullies without having to have a mental breakdown. Sometimes you are talking to somebody who's maybe from a different country, and you have to learn how to pick up on certain social cues, or just not being afraid to ask people questions. So being able to actually have a conversation, being able to converse with different people, that would be the biggest. Another thing would be to learn about sound. Learn about how you want to sound in your content. A lot of times when people start off with content creation, they don't have a team to help. There's no team to help, and you have to figure it out yourself. Learning how to get on YouTube and figure things out, researching, finding out maybe what type of mic do you want to have? Like, how do you want your sound to be? How do you want people to understand your thought processes? Like it's all about trying to put stuff together yourself. So just like really not being afraid to do trial and error. And like those are the best things that I could ever offer somebody, because to be honest with you, when people get into content creation, they think that you have to have the best internet. Not true. I started off streaming on a platform that was called Mixer. It was Microsoft's platform. I was actually hijacking somebody's Wi-Fi. All right, don't recommend, because I think that might be illegal. But I was using the neighbor's Wi-Fi to stream. My streams would often be like very crusty and just pixelated, but I was still talking, and that's what people loved. I was still having 200 people in my stream while my stream was looking like it was dripping off of monitors. Like, it was bad, but I just kept talking, kept having fun, and people could hear me clearly. Because some people said, "Oh, see, look at that! Look!" And don't be afraid when things happen, because whole entire poster. So yeah, so that is like really just what it's all about. Be yourself, learn what you can, continue to learn, and just do it. Just go. Just talk.
Well, when you're talking about the art of the conversation, of course, there's the listening piece in that like sometimes I feel like gets undervalued. Like we have things like debate club, like speech club, but
Yes.
you're a really good example of not just, of course, like listening, thinking about your audience, but also when you had that opportunity with Xbox for Black History Month, you took that as an opportunity to say, I want to do this collaboratively. Can you talk to our listeners a little bit about that? Because I think, part of what you're saying as a presenter, a streamer, I think audiences also are really good today about recognizing authenticity, maybe, because we have so much choice, right? Like, a
Yes.
platform like Twitch, it's not like, oh, there's just a few people for me to choose from. It's like, thousands, I don't even know. So can you talk a little bit about that choice and how, in my mind, that choice also really signifies how important you think it is to listen?
So I am the type of person where when given an opportunity, I bring people all the time. I am known to when I get invited somewhere, I ask, where's my +1? I am very direct in that respect, because I have so the art of networking is why I am how I am. When you go through life and you meet people that you really mesh with, in future, you're going to think about those people when opportunities present themselves. So when I was given the opportunity to stream on Xbox's channel, I was happy, but I wasn't thinking about myself. I just knew that I was a vessel, and vessels need people on it. So my thought process, I did a call out on Twitter a little bit, and I also talked to my friends, and I was like, listen, I need all my Black and brown people to pull up. All right. It's Black History Month. Don't try me. You guys better come play. Because I wanted people to get exposed to more content creators, get exposed to more players that they may resonate with, or if they don't at the time, they could get to know and find out what type of things they have in common. And when I do any type of piece that is supposed to gain some type of exposure, I always am trying to make sure that it's not just going to increase my exposure, but that it's going to facilitate my goals, but also bring about other people. Like, it's all a current, like that. I look at this as currency, not money, but as actual currency, where I am supposed to go and do something, but when I do something, I cannot stop the flow. It does not end with me. It doesn't sit well with me when I'm offered an opportunity and nobody else can, because essentially that's what leads to gatekeeping. So for me to be able to get onto Xbox's Twitch, I was thinking to myself, I've seen other people do this. I've seen them have fun. But one thing that I haven't seen was their friends. I haven't seen the other people. I haven't seen people that that they talk to every single day that help encourage them. I just see them usually by themselves. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? we're going to make a change. I want to get as many people to come play with me as possible. I want people to hear other people's voices. I want people to know that since I'm talking about Black history, since I'm talking about making a change in gaming, I don't want people to just see one singular Black person and be like, oh yeah, it's Black History Month. Yeah, that person's being featured. No, we're having a whole entire party in Minecraft. I'm trying to show you different people's skins. I'm trying to show you like the actual ecosystem that I have helped to facilitate. I'm really trying to expose you to the culture. And that is what's very vital and important. When I see people on their streams and I see people doing like roundtables with all their friends, you're getting to not only experience their personality, not only experience their friends' personalities, but you're able to experience actual conversation, actual discussions. You're able to really like sit in a stream and have a full experience of whatever topic they're talking about versus it just being one-sided where you're just watching a streamer talk to a camera, which, hey, that's fun. I like to do that too. But when you can have multiple people with you, it makes the conversation stronger. So that's why I did that. Like I had a whole entire like thought process behind it because I was like, everybody's going to get some kind of exposure. This is going to be good. This is going to be fun. And it's also a great way for Xbox to also see what awesome players actually are playing on their system.
That's beautiful. And in my mind, that's true leadership. You mentioned gatekeeping, and to me, that's the test of a true leader is, are you hoarding power or are you building power collectively? So I'm wondering, I'm guessing you've got an audience with a huge age range. Do you feel like the audience picked up on that? Like, do you think because I mean, that is amazing, I think, role modeling for young gamers who would love to have a platform like yours. Do you think they picked up on that as an intentional choice?
So I tell people that I'm a family-friendly content creator. I tell them don't cuss in my chat. I tell them sometimes, quite often, don't cuss in my chat. I can play Call of Duty and I would still say, don't cuss in my chat. And they'll be like, well, this is a mature game. Don't care. I'm too young to see the cuss words. Like, I would tell them, don't do that. But I always let people know that I'm a very welcoming individual, but I strive to make sure that children can have a safe place to not only watch content, but to also speak to other people. I'm very big on making sure that children are safe on the internet. So everybody does realize that there is an intentional age difference amongst all my audience. But what the thought process behind that was more so, I don't want to lose people. If you start talking to children and start allowing them to, be themselves, you're telling them that their ideas are great and you're just like, really encouraging them, then they will become those type of adults in the future. Like, I'm always thinking about planting the seed and watching it grow. So for me, everything that I do is intentional. Everything I do is intentional. Me deciding that I want to be a family-friendly content creator. I made that decision within only a few months of streaming because I realized that not a lot of children have good, nice places to really watch streams at. But there's a lot of children watching streams. There's unfortunately a lot of children who are used to watching streams where the streamer is cussing out the chat, where the streamer is rude to children on online gameplay, where the streamer is speaking heavily sexually to the audience and you don't know who's in the audience. We have so many content creators out there, and I'm not saying that adult content is bad. Like, I'm not saying that whatsoever. But at the same time, we have a lot of content creators out there who don't care who's in their audience. So when something happens, it's kind of difficult because it's like, well, you see how they were running their stream before, you see how they were talking to their streams. So like, I feel bad when kids get roped into that. But sometimes kids still find these content creators as their favorite content creator. And then you have conventions and then like just weird stuff happens. So like for me, I'm just like, look, I want to eliminate all that as much as I can. I just want to be welcoming and inviting to anyone that wants to watch the stream. Treat everyone as a human. Make sure that the children in my stream are safe. I will easily, if there's people arguing in the chat, I will easily shut that down. I don't have time for that because that's not, that's not something I want to facilitate. But also at the same time, I also let people know, hey, there's children in the chat. Now, yes, occasionally we will have more kind of like adult conversations, not like raunchy or anything like that, but sometimes we do have adult conversations. I do let people know, hey, right now we're having more of an adult conversation. If you are a parent, your child may or may not be good right now in the stream, I do let people know that. I'm very transparent, but for the most part, I'm just really just welcoming to people of all ages because why not?
I love what you're saying about these intentional choices and really thinking about who your audience is and honoring that. And, again, you are not just a live streamer. We mentioned Black Minecraft, the podcast, which, correct me if this is wrong, has sort of evolved into Hustling Blocks, which features guests who, again, are talking about Minecraft and how you can leverage it in many different ways. Can you talk a little bit about, for folks who are not familiar with Minecraft and, I think, you mentioned earlier, like, yep, there's a STEM connection and some folks might, okay, I'm familiar with that. Like maybe I have a niece or I have a young person in my life who like, oh, I heard their teacher was using it for that. But, you are really, I think, trying to totally expand our imagination for what the possibilities are there for. Can you talk about what you're doing with that programming and some of the intentional choices you've made in that space too?
Yes. So we will be having some episodes come up of where I decided to interview educators who utilize Minecraft, as well as a student who actually was in one of New York's first pilot programs of utilizing Minecraft for education. And just for them to have decided to get into this program, their ninth grade year, their freshman year during the pandemic, mind you, to decide to get into that program and to like see everything that they've been learning. But when it comes down to using Minecraft for education, oh my gosh, there's so much. So there's actually a product called Minecraft Education Edition, which facilitates even more abilities to do coding, to do art design, to learn history, all different types of stuff. Like you can learn about geography and environment, learning how to sustain environmental and sustainability efforts. There's so much stuff, but like I've really enjoyed interviewing people who are using these products because it gives the audience a better thought process of maybe what they can do. It's one thing to hear somebody say, oh yeah, you can use Minecraft for education. It's another thing to actually hear an educator explaining why they chose to use it. It's another thing to hear a student explaining what they have gained from it, what they hope to gain from it, and how they are encouraging other students to utilize this program. So it's really great. Like there are, oh my god, it's amazing because it just exposes children and their parents and educators into the possibilities that can happen from the video game. And it's not just, oh, well, I learned how to code, yada, yada, yada. No, 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 no. A lot of these students are learning how to actually create their own websites because of the foundations of coding that they learned within Minecraft Education Edition. There's actually a school in New York where they started off the children with Minecraft Education Edition, and a lot of them are learning how to make drones, like program the drones and everything. And it's such a broad spectrum of things that can be learned using Minecraft and Minecraft Education Edition that is like, why not? Like architects use Minecraft in order to create, better pathways so that children could get to schools, could get to their homes better. So like this Minecraft as a whole is like a lifelong journey of learning. So like I mean honestly, like my Hustlin' Block series, it's going to cover more people who use Minecraft every day for not so typical things that you might not have thought about. And I'm excited to be able to show people that, and to show it from people who are of the Black and brown minorities. Because it's a little bit different when you're like, wait, this Black person's doing this, what the heck? So yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And, I think that expansiveness and that creativity, I mean, Minecraft's been around for a while now too, right? And to see its evolution is amazing. And I think part of that evolution, which, the work that you're doing points to, is there's a really generous community who I think are very passionate about what they're doing and are almost leaving like a breadcrumb trail so you can learn. I mean, like, there's just a huge community online where folks can, I've never done this before. Here's great tutorials that, are going to help you get started. And then I think encourage you to experiment. And that has been, as I'm speaking with folks like you, I feel like it comes up again and again and again, like that network and how tight it is and how folks genuinely want to support one another. And I'm kind of wondering, is there a game that you play that either you have learned about from your network, or is there somebody in your network who kind of inspires or motivates you? I'm kind of wondering, like, you give so much to the network.
There's so much.
I know. I hate to put you on the spot and say, but how has the network been helpful for you? Like, you're giving so much to it, but I'm wondering, like, how do you also, how are you continuing to be, like, I love you brought up lifelong learning. Is that, does it work both ways for you?
That's a funny question, isn't it? Well, okay. So to be transparent, not all the community is like that, to be transparent. And I'm just being 100% honest. Whenever it comes down to being a person of color, whenever it comes down to being a woman, it is not always reciprocated, what you put in. And that could be very disheartening. It could be very frustrating at times. But there are always great people. So one of the people that within the Minecraft network that have inspired me would be Joe Hills. So Joe Hills is the creator of Hermitcraft, which Joe Hills is a very known person. It's funny because I didn't know who he was when we first had a conversation. But I found out who he was when he had rated me on Twitch, and I was like, there's people. Like, what is this? Like the whole entire time, me and him, we were just talking about the issues with diversity, equity, and inclusion within the Minecraft space. We had a sidebar conversation, and so like when he rated me, everybody's like, "Yeah, it's Joe Hills." I'm like, don't know who that is. I mean, I know who he is, but okay, But it was funny because I didn't realize he had amassed like this huge following. But he actually has inspired me to continue to have the conversations regardless of whether or not I feel like things are being reciprocated back. He often has great conversations while he's streaming. He does a lot of, just building, some exploring and whatnot, but he's always just authentically himself. And that is one thing that I really do admire about him. He has a community filled with not just children, but also adults too. So he makes sure that his content isn't like just like too far out there. He's making sure he can still be relatable. So that is one of the people who I do look up to within the Minecraft community. And another person would have to be Kendrasite. Kendrasite, Ken is very... So Ken he's a family friendly content creator. He is very energetic. I am not energetic as much as him, But the energy that he brings, the positivity that he brings is what I truly do love. He's constantly like, if say for instance, there's people in his chat and maybe they're like, yeah, I didn't have such a good day. He'd be like, okay, well, let's talk about it. And, do you want to come play with me? Like things like that. Like he's very like, really nice with his community where he just wants them all to grow together. He wants them all to be able to mature together and really like get through a lot of successful days, regardless of maybe whether or not you're having a not so up there day. He wants you to be able to leave his stream having a better outlook on your day. So like those are two people that really do they really have inspired me within the Minecraft ecosystem.
Thank you for sharing that. And, as you're talking again about folks having a community like there to hopefully like leave the stream feeling a little bit better than they did when they started, I'm wondering for you, you've been at this for a while.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your sense of some of your goals with your streaming have switched up, evolved? Is there any practice that you do now that's different from like day one when you first began?
Yeah. So I unfortunately have gone through platform changes, where the first platform change was because Mixer went down and all the content creators had to figure out where they're going to go. So that changed a lot because I used to have mainly children in my chat. Then it started getting into kind of more of a mixed variety, like a very mixed variety. There are some days where I don't have any kids in my chat, or at least none that are talking. Some things that I have changed up um, is that doing I've been doing um more advocating in other areas than just my stream. And I've had to do that because after we lost our platform, I kind of realized that I was kind of just tied to doing most things on a streaming platform, but wasn't doing well. I don't feel like I was doing enough off platform. I don't feel like I was really networking enough to my fullest abilities. So one thing that I started to do was I actually started getting on LinkedIn. I know that's a really weird thing. But I started getting onto LinkedIn. I started branching out more. And what I started to do is in streams, I would also sometimes go over LinkedIn and actually show people how to use it. Talking to a lot of like our teenagers, like, hey, you guys are all getting to the point of where you're starting to graduate, you're starting to get into these programs. Let's go ahead and talk about LinkedIn and talk about how you can utilize LinkedIn to start building your network. So by the time you are ready to go ahead and graduate, what have you, it might help out when you do decide to go off to college, because you are going to be a little bit more social to people who are, different than you. Or maybe you don't want to go to college and you have this really extensive network where you're able to get directly into the industry of your choice. So I've started to kind of add more tools, more days where we start doing some tools, more days of where I'm talking to children of all ages about, what kind of education do they like? So there's like there's a lot of kids that will come into my stream. They'll be like, "You taught me more than my teacher taught me," and I'm like, "Well, that's the goal." So we do things where, say for instance, somebody brings up a topic and I'm really itching to talk about it. I'm like, "Okay, guys, we're going into research mode," and then we'll like I'll be on Google researching. We'll see like cross-reference videos, and then we'll go back to Minecraft and still be talking about the conversation. So for me, I've been just using Minecraft more so as a tool to sit around the campfire, so to speak. And then if it gets to us wanting to do research, then we go onto there and then we pivot back. So I've just really been using Minecraft even more as just like a tool to have conversations. It used to be just strictly like gameplay, but because my audience has changed where I am getting more of a mixed bag of ages, I'm like, and the fact that, pandemic, like, in what ways can I actually use my stream to help people, A, relax, B, be entertained, but then also see how can I help them elevate themselves. I want everyone when they leave my stream to be able to leave with some type of piece of knowledge, have them leave feeling good about themselves. But I also want them to come back with stories of success. So like, occasionally people would be like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, what? And they'll be like, what you suggested that I do, it worked. It really worked. And like, I love to see that. There's a lot of kids that like, they started watching me when they were in 9th grade and they graduated. And they're like giving me a whole entire rendition of how their first year of college went. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm old. Help me. I'm getting old here. Like, what is this? So, like, for me, it's just been changing up how I want to present more knowledge in my stream. So in that way, I won't lose too many parents, but also to the point where I'm essentially one of the people that when they started watching when they were a child, now they're an adult, they know that they can like come to me and ask me all different types of questions. They know that it's definitely a safe place, so that's kind of how it's changed. It's just been a little bit more informative.
That's beautiful. And I mean, I know this isn't a live stream, but I feel like I am walking away too with a bit of knowledge and feeling really great about this conversation because, again, in this series, just learning more and more about how many potential professional pathways are there for students. It seems wild to me that we're not talking about the industry more broadly, and so many, every person actually that we've had on this series,
Yes,
like you, has talked about the joy that they are getting from their work, the meaning and the purpose, and that is such a privilege too, to really see that in the work that you are doing. So thank you for sharing your expertise, and thank you for using really the power of your platform for good, as cheesy as that sounds. It's been an honor to speak with you, and listeners, we're going to have lots of links over there in the show notes so that you also can connect and learn and recommend to parents and caretakers, because, we started this conversation saying they need to know about this too, right? That's an important, I think, three-way conversation: schools, our young learners, and families. Especially, I don't know if you're seeing this, and I've noticed in a variety of different libraries, like I love libraries, that libraries are starting to support with games and access too.
Yes.
But I will say, like, I think unless we're letting families know, this is not just necessarily about fun, even though like fun and entertainment is good for us too. It's bigger than that.
Yeah. So just to let you all know, I'm actually I'm on the, I don't even know. Look, I have a title in this, but like I think that she just gave me the title just so it sounds good. But basically, I am actually part of a nonprofit where we are creating a localized pipeline here in Jacksonville, Florida, for educating our youth in underrepresented communities, educating them on technology. Okay, now I've told people gaming is just technology. It's just the fun part. So we're actually educating them on gaming and general technology. And our goal is to create a whole entire pipeline that includes the parents all the way through. So that's why, talking about things like video games inside of the schools or how you can utilize video games for education is something that we're doing. But we're also trying to actually let these children know about the careers that they can get within gaming and within technology. and how not everything is as linear as you think. So we're doing what we can to make sure that underrepresented communities understand there is space for you. And even if we have to fight tooth and nail, you will be able to succeed. And there's a lot of jobs within the gaming industry that people don't know about because they're not heavily broadcast. So our goal is, hey, we know those jobs. Let's go ahead, do some workshops. Let's go ahead and expose the general community, the public, to what can happen in the gaming industry. It's all technology. We're all moving to more technologically advanced society. So let's talk to our underrepresented communities like, hey, let's go ahead and do this. We don't want anybody to fall behind. Let's go ahead and do this. So it's all good.
I love that. Yeah, that community education piece is huge. When I was actually even talking to my own parents about this, and they were like, what is esports? And so we had a conversation, and they weren't really getting it. And I was like, look up any university. They offer scholarships, they have teams. And my parents were like, what? Like, disbelieving. And
Right.
I think telling these stories, getting that information out there is massive, is huge. I'm guessing actually we might have a few listeners who are hearing what you are saying, and they're thinking, I'd love to connect with that nonprofit. I'd love to learn more about, how I can maybe find a guest speaker for our parent caretaker audience. What might be a good way to reach out to you or to reach out to your nonprofit?
Okay. So the nonprofit is called Global Patch. That is GLOBALPATCH. If you go to globalpatchgaming.com, we are just now launching our website, but you can also speak to us via LinkedIn, which is good. Or you could really send me a message on Twitter if you needed to at _ Janey Laney, JANEYLANEY. But we can definitely correspond, let you know what types of programming, because we have some bomb programming. We have some great programming, and some of it is virtual, which is really great. We have some great programming coming up. We are, I think I'm allowed to say that. We are partnering with EA, and some other places, in order to facilitate a great workshop like Q&A, hands-on type of approach into various areas of the gaming and tech industries. And our goal is to make sure that those underrepresented communities, not only that they're getting the knowledge, but that they feel like there's sustainability within the industry, because there's a pipeline, because there's multiple events. So I actually had just suggested that we do a manga creation workshop where we teach kids how to make their own manga.
Cool.
And for those of you guys who do not know this, like a Japanese anime comic book, that those skill sets, learning about art, learning about design, learning about narratives, all of those things go into gaming. All those things go into technology. They could go into like storyboarding for a movie. Like there's so many different things. So we're going to be offering so many ways for children, especially, to get in touch with their skill sets, either that they already have or that they want to learn. And of course, bring the parents with you. So
I love that. Again,
it's going to be great.
All that information is going to be over there in the show notes. Thank you again for taking the time to come on this show and share your wisdom with us. We look forward to continuing to watch what you do with your platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
If you missed out on our sold-out 3-month generative AI cohort that started this month, don't worry, you can join our new cohort starting this September. So we hope that you join us from September through November and embark on a unique 3-month transformational journey hosted by myself and Tricia. Created specifically for educators, edtech professionals, and instructional coaches, this program is designed to bridge the chasm between traditional teaching methodologies and AI-enhanced learning. Together, we'll unravel the marvels of generative AI, demystifying its vast potential, and show you how it's shaking up the educational landscape. Learn how AI can create personalized educational content, provide meaningful feedback, foster dynamic student interaction, and deliver real-time learning for students. Here's what's in store for you. First, you get our live webinars. Each month, we'll host a 30-minute live webinar answering your unique questions, addressing your needs, and supporting your learning journey in real time. So stay tuned for the webinar schedule. You'll also receive generative AI resources. You'll receive a fresh, ready-to-roll resource every month built around one of our generative AI frameworks, empowering yourself to immediately apply the knowledge you're acquiring. Of course, you'll also get monthly updates and news reviews. Stay in the know with our concise review of the most critical updates and news items impacting education in the world of AI. Also, you'll get a list of curated tools, explore cutting-edge AI tools handpicked by us for their relevance in modern classrooms. It's time to revolutionize the way we teach. You also get monthly prompts. Each month, we will give you an inspired prompt where you have 3 different prompts. These AI-powered prompts are designed to spark your creativity, encourage you to explore, experiment, and innovate in fresh and exciting ways. Of course, there was also an asynchronous share via Slack, connecting with your cohort peers and us anytime, anywhere. Our optional Slack space offers a perfect environment for continuous knowledge sharing, feedback, and collaboration. To ensure that we're able to address each individual's needs and create a tailor-made learning experience, we're capping the cohort once again at 50 participants. So, what are you waiting for? Join us on this extraordinary journey. Let's revolutionize education together, one AI tool at a time. We expect this cohort to sell out fast as well, so don't wait and book your spot today. And remember to use that code SSPOD25 at checkout to save $25. Hope to see you in the cohort.